Have you ever felt like a lost ship at sea, tossed about by the waves of life, searching for a guiding light to bring you safely to shore? Just as a ship needs a skilled captain to navigate through stormy waters, we too need a divine navigator to guide us through the challenges and uncertainties of life. The good news is that we have a loving God who is always ready to take the helm and steer us toward our destiny. Today, I want to explore with you the transformative power of allowing God to lead your life. By surrendering control and acknowledging His infinite wisdom, we can find true direction and purpose. Isaiah 30 verse 21 promises, "Your ears shall hear a word behind you saying, 'This is the way, walk in it,' whenever you turn to the right hand or whenever you turn to the left." By surrendering the wheel to God, we acknowledge that He is in control and we choose the most capable hands to lead us. God's guidance is not just about reaching a destination, it is about growing stronger and more resilient as we journey together with Him. Let us step into this voyage with faith, knowing that with God as our captain, no storm can mislead us and no wave is too mighty to overcome. When we allow God to lead us, we often find ourselves stepping into the unknown, into territories that may seem daunting or even impossible to navigate on our own. However, it is in these moments of uncertainty that our faith is truly tested and strengthened. The story of Joshua and the Israelites crossing the Jordan River serves as a powerful reminder of what can happen when we choose to trust in God's guidance. As the Israelites prepared to cross the Jordan River and enter the Promised Land, God gave Joshua a specific set of instructions. In Joshua 3 verses 7 to 8 we read, "And the Lord said to Joshua, 'This day I will begin to exalt you in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that, as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. You shall command the priests who bear the ark of the covenant, saying, when you have come to the edge of the water of the Jordan, you shall stand in the Jordan.'" Stepping into the unknown requires a deep level of trust and obedience. The priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant had to take that first step into the rushing waters of the Jordan, trusting that God would fulfill His promise and part the waters for them to cross on dry ground. Just as the priests had to step into the river before the waters parted, we too must often take steps of faith before we see God's miraculous provision in our lives. Stepping into the unknown can be a frightening prospect. It means leaving behind the familiar, the comfortable, and the predictable, and venturing into uncharted territory. However, it is in these moments of complete dependence on God that we experience His faithfulness and grace in profound ways. As we trust in His leading, we begin to see that He's with us every step of the way, guiding us and directing our paths. In Isaiah 43 verses 1 to 2, God offers this reassuring promise. "But now, thus says the Lord, who created you, O Jacob, and He who formed you, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers they shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, nor shall the flame scorch you." These verses serve as a powerful reminder that no matter what uncertainties or challenges we face, God is with us, protecting us and guiding us through each step. When we choose to trust in His leading, even when the path ahead seems unclear, we open ourselves up to experiencing His miraculous power and provision in our lives. Stepping into the unknown with faith also requires a willingness to let go of our own plans and expectations. It means surrendering our desires and ideas of how things should be and instead embracing God's perfect will for our lives. This can be a difficult process, as we often cling to our own understanding and resist the idea of relinquishing control. However, As we learn to let go and trust in God's guidance, we discover a newfound sense of peace and purpose. We begin to see that His plans for us are far greater than anything we could imagine on our own. I encourage you today to embrace the unknown with faith, trusting that God is leading you every step of the way. When fears and doubts arise, cling to His promises and remember that He is always with you, guiding you and directing your path. As you step out in obedience and surrender to His will, you will experience the incredible joy and fulfillment that comes from walking in His perfect plan for your life. Take a moment to reflect on the areas of your life where you may be hesitating to step into the unknown. What fears or doubts are holding you back? What steps of faith is God calling you to take? Remember, you are not alone in this journey. God is with you, and He will provide all that you need to navigate the path ahead. One of the most challenging aspects of allowing God to lead our lives is learning to trust in His timing and provision. We live in a world that values instant gratification and quick results, often leaving us feeling impatient and frustrated when things don't happen according to our own timeline. However, as we navigate the journey of faith, we must learn to surrender our expectations and trust that God's timing is perfect, even when it differs from our own. The story of Abraham and Sarah serves as a powerful example of trusting in God's timing and provision. God had promised Abraham that he would become the father of many nations. But as the years passed and Sarah remained barren, the couple began to doubt God's plan. In an attempt to take matters into their own hands, Sarah gave her maidservant Hagar to Abraham, resulting in the birth of Ishmael. However, this was not the child God had promised. It was not until Abraham was 100 years old that Sarah gave birth to their son Isaac. In Genesis 21 verses 1 to 2 we read, "And the Lord visited Sarah as He had said, and the Lord did for Sarah as He had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him." This passage highlights the importance of trusting in God's timing, even when it seems impossible or unrealistic by human standards. Waiting on God's timing can be a difficult and painful process. We may face disappointment, heartache, and even despair as we wonder if God has forgotten us or if His promises will ever come to pass. However, it is in these moments of waiting that our faith is refined and strengthened as we learn to rely on God's faithfulness and trust in His perfect plan. Joseph's story in the latter part of Genesis is another remarkable example of trusting in God's timing and provision. Sold into slavery by his own brothers and falsely imprisoned, Joseph could have easily given up hope and lost faith in God's plan for his life. However, he chose to trust in God's sovereignty, even in the midst of his suffering. Ultimately, God elevated him to a position of great authority and influence in Egypt. Genesis 50, verse 20, records Joseph's words, "But as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good in order to bring it about as it is this day, to save many people alive." Joseph's story reminds us that even when our circumstances seem bleak and our dreams appear shattered, God is still at work, orchestrating every detail of our lives for His glory and our ultimate good. As we learn to trust in God's timing, we grow in patience, faith, and perseverance. We develop a deeper understanding of His character and His unfailing love for us. We begin to see that His delays are not denials, but rather opportunities for us to grow and mature in our faith. I encourage you today to trust in God's timing and provision. When you feel tempted to take matters into your own hands or give up hope, remember the stories of Abraham, Sarah, and Joseph. As we bring this journey to a close, let us reflect on what it means to truly allow God to lead our lives. Life will undoubtedly bring storms, uncertainties, and moments of waiting, but through it all, we can have confidence in God's perfect plan. When we surrender control, step out in faith, and trust in His timing, we invite God's power and presence into every aspect of our lives. Remember, allowing God to lead is not a one-time decision, it is a daily commitment. Each day presents new opportunities to trust Him more deeply and walk in the path He has set before us. As Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths. May you be encouraged today to release your fears, embrace the unknown, and trust in God's unfailing love. With Him as your guide, there is no obstacle too great, no storm too fierce, and no dream too impossible. So take that step of faith, surrender your plans, and let God lead you into the incredible future He has prepared for you. The journey may not always be easy, but it will be worth it, for He is faithful, and His plans are always for your good. Go forward with courage, walk in faith, and know that you are never alone. God is with you, leading you every step of the way. Remember that God is faithful to fulfill His promises, and His timing is always perfect. If you find this video inspiring, do well to click on the like button, share and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring content. See you soon.